leaves that room and goes into another room.
Does.
He has many more bookshelves than we can see, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is not my study.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
good. Let me put the kibosh on this. I'm gonna do that. Huh,
Hey,
I'm very surprised. All right, sorry about all that. That was a distracting thing. Anyway, we're on YouTube. Okay, that went on YouTube also. Anyway, we are in the Ethica section of James Joyce's marvelous book, Ulysses. And we are going to start today with the sentence, in what ultimate ambition had all the concurrent and consecutive ambitions now coalesced. And if you're going to read along with us while watching the video, you'll want to look for the section where Bloom does an accounting of his day. And it's very near there. So with that being said, I will begin. And what ultimate ambition had all concurrent and consecutive ambitions now coalesced? Not to inherit by right of primogeniture, gravel kind or borough English, or possess in perpetuity an extensive demesne of a sufficient number of acres, roods, and perches. Statute land measure, valuation £42. Of grazing tubery surrounding, a baronial hall with gate lodge and carriage drive. Nor, on the other hand, a terrace house or semi-detached villa described as rus in urbe or qui si sana, but to purchase by private treaty in fee simple a thatched, bungalow-shaped, two-story dwelling house of southerly aspect, surmounted by vane and lightning conductor, connected with the earth, with porch covered by parasitic plants, ivy or Virginia creeper, hall door, olive green, with smart carriage finish and neat door brasses, stucco front with gilt tracery at eaves and gable, rising, if possible, upon a gentle eminence with agreeable prospect from balcony with stone pillar, parapet, over unoccupied and unoccupiable adjacent pastures, and standing in 5 or 6 acres of its own ground at such distance from the nearest public thoroughfare as to render its house lights visible at night above, and through the quick-set hornbeam hedge of topiary cutting situated at a given point, not less than 1 statute mile from the periphery of the metropolis. And I will hand this over to Katrina.
Within a time limit of not more than 15 minutes from the tram or tram line, e.g. Dundrum South or Sutton North, both localities equally reported by trial to resemble the terrestrial poles in being favorable climates for physical subjects. The premises to be held under fee farm grant lease 999 years. The message to consist of one drawing room with bay window, 2 lancets, thermometer affixed, one sitting room, 4 bedrooms, 2 servants' rooms, tile kitchen with close range and scullery, lounge hall fitted with linen wall presses, fumed oak sectional bookcase containing the Encyclopedia Britannica and New Century Dictionary. Transverse obsolete medieval and oriental weapons, dinner gong, alabaster lamp, bowl pendant, vulcanite automatic telephone receiver with adjacent directory, hand-tufted Axminster carpet with cream ground and trellis border, loo table with pillar and claw legs, hearth with massive fire brasses and ormolu mantle, chronometer, clocks, guaranteed timekeeper with cathedral chimes, barometer with hydrographic chart, comfortable lounge settees and corner fitments, upholstered in ruby plush with good springing and sunk center, three bannered Japanese screens and cuspidors, club style, rich wine-colored leather, gloss renewable with a minimum of labor by use of linseed oil and vinegar, and pyramidically prismatic central chandelier luster, bentwood perch with finger-tame parrot expurgated language, embossed mural paper at 10 shillings per dozen with transverse swags of carmine floral design, and top crown frieze staircase, three continuous flights at successive right angles of varnished clear-grained oaks, treads, and risers, newel balusters and handrail with step-up panel dado dressed with camphorated wax. Joe, take it over.
Bathroom, hot and cold supply, reclining, and shower. Water closet on mezzanine provided with opaque single pane oblong window. Tip-up seat, bracket lamp, brass tirad brace, armrest, footstool, and artistic oleograph on inner face of door. Ditto plain servants' apartments with separate sanitary and hygienic necessaries for cook, general and between maid. Salary rising by biennial unearned increments of £2, with comprehensive fidelity insurance, annual bonus £1, and returning allowance based on the 65 system after 30 years service. Pantry, buttery, larder, refrigerator, out offices, coal and wood, cellarage with wine bins, still and sparkling vintages for distinguished guests if entertained to dinner. Evening dress, carbon monoxide gas supply throughout. And
what additional attractions might the grounds contain? As a tennis and 5 courts, a shrubbery, a glass summer house with tropical palms, equipped in the best botanical manner, a rockery with water spray, a beehive arranged on humane principles, oval flower beds in rectangular grass plots, set with eccentric ellipses of scarlet and chrome tulips, brocelias, crocuses, folianthus, sweet William, sweet pea, lily of the valley, bulbs obtainable from Sir James W. Mackey Limited, wholesale and retail seed and bulb merchants and nurserymen, agents for chemical manures, 23 Sackville Street Upper, an orchard, kitchen, garden and winery protected against illegal trespassers by glass-topped mural enclosures, a lumber shed with padlock for various inventor's implements. Okay. As LA traps, lobster pots, fishing rods, hatchet, steelyard, grindstone, cloud crusher, swat terminal, no idea, carrier, gearsack, telescope, ladder, 10-tooth rake, washing clogs, hay header, tumbling rake, bill hook, paint pot, brush, hoe, and so on. Jim.
What improvements might be subsequently introduced? A rabbitry and fowl run, a dovecot, a botanical conservatory, 2 hammocks, ladies and gentlemen's, a sundial shaded and sheltered by laburnum or lilac trees, an exotically harmonically accorded Japanese tinkle gate bell affixed to left lateral gate post, a capacious water butt, a lawnmower with side delivery and grass box, a lawn sprinkler with hydraulic hose. What facilities of transit were desirable? When city-bound, frequent connection by train or tram from their respective intermediate station or terminal, what country-bound velocipedes a chainless, freewheel, roadster cycle with side back cars attached, or draft conveyance, a donkey with wicker trap or smart phaeton with good working, solid, regular cob, roan gelding, 14 hens. What might be the name of this irregular or erect residence? Bloom Cottage, St. Leopold's, Flowersville. Could Bloom of 7 Eccles Street foresee Bloom of Flowerville? In loose all-wood garments with Harris tweed cap, price 8 shillings and 6 pence, and useful garden boots with elastic gussets and watering can, planting aligned young fir trees, syringing, pruning, stalking, sowing hayseed, trundling a wheel-laden wheelbarrow without excessive fatigue at sunset amid the scent of new-mown hay, ameliorating the soil, multiplying wisdom, achieving longevity. Sylvia, please.
What syllabus of intellectual pursuits was simultaneously possible? Snapshot photography, comparative study of religions, folklore relative to various amatory and superstitious practices, contemplation of the celestial constellations. What lighter recreations? Outdoor, garden and field work, cycling on level macadamized causeways, ascents of moderately high hills, natation in secluded fresh water and unmolested riverboating in secure wherry or light curricle with cage anchor on reaches free from weirs and rapids. Period of estivation. Vespertinal perambulation or equestrian circumprocession with inspection of sterile landscape and contrastingly agreeable cottagers, fires of smoking peat, turfs. Period of hibernation. Indoor. Discussion in tepid security of unresolved historical and criminal problems. Lecture of unexpurgated exotic erotic masterpieces. House carpentry with toolbox containing hammer, awl, nails, screws, tic-tacs, gimlet, tweezers, bullnose plane, and turn screw. Dave.
Might he become a gentleman farmer of field produce and livestock? Not impossibly, with 1 or 2 stripper cows, 1 pike of upland hay, and requisite farming implements. Example, an end-to-end churn, a turnip pulper, etc. What would be his civic functions and social status among the country families and landed gentry? Arranged successively in ascending powers of hierarchical order, that of gardener, groundsman, cultivator, breeder, and at the zenith of his career, resident magistrate or justice of the peace with a family crest and coat of arms, an appropriate classical model, semper paratus, duly recorded in the court directory, Bloom Leopold P. MP, PC, KP, LLD, honoris causa, Bloomville, Dundrum, and mentioned in the court and fashionable intelligence, Mr. and Mrs. Leopold Bloom have left Kingstown for England. What course of action did he outline for himself in such capacity? A course that lay between undue clemency and excessive rigor. The dispensation in a heterogeneous society of arbitrary classes incessantly rearranged in terms of greater and lesser social inequality, of unbiased, homogeneous, indisputable justice tempered with mitigants of the widest possible latitude, but exactable to the uttermost farthing, with confiscation of estate, real and personal, to the crown. Loyal to the highest constituted power in the land, actuated by an innate love of rectitude, his aims would be the strict maintenance of public order, the repression of many abuses, though not of all simultaneously, every measure of reform or retrenchment being a preliminary solution to be contained by fluxion in the final solution, the upholding of the letter of the law, common statute and law merchant, against all traversers in coven and trespassers acting in contravention of bylaws and regulations, all resuscitators by trespass and petty larceny of kindlings, of Venville rights obsolete by disuetude, all orotund investigators of international persecution, all perpetrators of international animosities, all menial molesters of domestic conviviality, all recalcitrant violators of domestic connubiality. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So I think we should talk about what we have read today and see if we have any time over after we have talked about it somewhat. Anybody have any comments or questions about the section that we read?
Well, it's sort of the little home that grew, isn't it? Because he starts small. What he wants is, but purchase. He doesn't want the big stuff. He says as I started about line 1500. But what he does want is to purchase by private treaty in fee simple a detached bungalow shaped two-story dwelling house of southerly aspect, surmounted by, and then it just seems to grow from there.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Joe? Am I getting that right? That he starts, like, he kind of starts small in terms of the house, and then the grounds just keep getting more and more ornate and sumptuous.
Yeah, this is Bloom's mind. Like, he can't
I love it.
house without deciding there'll be a padlock on it as well, and padlock, and it just grow. He must have had access to a lot of what we call auctioneering material, realtor sales brochures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, as I said before, this is Bloom's parallel fantasy, and what it's parallel to is Gertie McDowell's fantasy.
Yes. Yeah.
So, this is what Bloom has been gleaming out of magazines and books and conversations, probably for at least a decade and maybe more. And it's a simple fact. I was surprised to find out. Of course, newspapers are out of favor now, but I came to find out that the most popular section of a newspaper is the Sunday real estate section.
Yeah.
That when newspapers were popular, people loved to read the articles about housing. And, they always had these articles about, how to finance a house, how much house can a person buy? And then there would be all these advertisements, and adults love to dream about houses particularly if they don't have a house.
It's interesting to see that, like, Orla made a great point as well about there's a tendency in Irish people to fantasize about houses and to enjoy. Even some people regularly will go to visit new houses being built and posing as purchasers who have no intention of buying. And as you said, you've got to get ready. You said you've got to be ready in case you win the lottery, and you suddenly have all these millions not
Exactly.
ready for it.
Right.
But it also is great, we were talking there on Saturday outside the house where Joyce was born, and it was a 4-bedroomed house, I think, was it Anne and myself were talking, and the point raised, what made was that you have to allow for servants' room.
Right.
So
Mhm.
the modern three-bedroom semi, before washing machines and all, you're certainly going to have at least one maid's room.
Right.
And the second house we went to, the second house Joyce went to at the age of 2, was a 5-bedroomed house, which sounds huge, but if you again provide for the maid, it's kind of more of a 4-bedroom. So like our society has changed, and then
Mhm.
let's not talk about gas supply throughout and that sort of thing. But the high point of the gas supply in Eccles Street will come when we discover there's a gas light in their bedroom. So he's got limited, that word throughout.
Right.
Bloom has limited gas supply in the house,
Right.
in the bedroom and in the cooking.
Mhm.
And but it's in this house, it'll be even that shed with the padlock will probably have a gas supply in there.
Hey, why not?
Nice, It's,
Do Bloom and Molly have a maid? Because I thought the problem was that Bloom was taking liberties with them.
They had.
I had, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they do now. And so, I mean, Joe, your
No,
point's
they
well
don't
taken.
now. No,
They
they
have a
do
woman
not
who
now.
comes in each day.
Ah, okay, that's it. Because as the guy who pushes the vacuum in this house, I'm wondering, okay, who does it there? Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And
This,
remember he was commenting on that she didn't stitch his socks that well,
yes, yeah.
or someone.
Okay.
And that girl, Mary, what's her name?
Mary Driscoll.
Mary
Right.
was surprised in the rear of the premise.
Yes, yeah. Mm.
But if we had, if I may, Douglas, if we had gone on to that, what we did was part of a loop. If we had gone on to finish the loop back to the place in Terranure, we would have come to the Joyce's grandparents' house at a place called Leonard's Corner. It's very rich. On that particular branch of the
Oh,
road,
his mother's parents' house?
his 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 mother's father, yeah, had a very good house in this part of Dublin, and but there are 4 Joyce sites placed on it, including the birthplace of Mr. Leopold Bloom. Um,
Uh-huh.
but if you go around the corner, you will find a road called Bloomfield Avenue,
Oh,
and you'll notice that we have a Bloom cottage. And across the road from it, there's a road called called Amorville Avenue,
mm-hmm.
where his parents first lived immediately after their marriage in a flat. And here we have Amorville becomes Flowerville. So he's falling back again on his grandparents. So that's
Okay. Okay.
that's very different from what Sloat says. Sloat doesn't appear to have done that little piece of research to find those 2 roads right beside each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And where did the bar come into it then? That we were standing outside.
that would be about a mile and a half, 2 miles from the grandparents' house, in back into the city. That has living accommodation in it, but it's not where the family lived, although it's where his mother was born. So I imagine he arrived up from County Longford and bought a place and had his daughter there, and then prospered and bought a fine house down the road a mile and a half away.
Excellent.
And the house that Joyce was born in is about halfway between those two.
Mm.
So we could still be wandering those roads,
Yeah.
I think this is probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, I think this is probably a pretty good inventory of the bourgeois dream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not only type of property to have, but
Let-
all the implements you wanted and the kind of hobbies that were the desirable hobbies at the time. Of course, Bloom is a little more uh, sophisticated in his taste, maybe than the average. I'm not sure of that, but it seems to me that he is, at least in his mind. Um, and so if one wanted to sketch out the bourgeois fantasy of those who have not quite arrived yet financially, I think this is a pretty good blueprint right here.
Yeah, yeah, he almost what he would like to have on his bookshelf as opposed to what he has. He would like to have the Encyclopedia Britannica, a modest little purchase, and the New Century Dictionary, and it could be fumed oak sectional bookcase.
Yeah.
Mm.
Everything is there. Like it's like the
It's
houses.
very detailed. It's very
Very,
detailed.
very.
This has been dreamed about and sketched in for a long, long time, I think.
And a mantle chronometer clock. So it's everything your heart could desire as an upper middle class person.
Yeah.
So this is it's the Cyclops chapter where you have the mock epic with these long lists, right? Is that correct? There's one chapter that's mock epic, and you're getting these hugely long lists.
Oh yeah.
That's Cyclops, right?
Yeah.
Right. So he's doing it again here, but there's another chapter I think maybe he's referring back to or echoing Joyce. I'm speaking, and that is the chapter 15, the Bellicoa chapter.
Which chapter?
The Circe chapter, because there we also see Bloom's dreams and ambitions, right?
His inner. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And also, I mean, we get a different perspective from the young girl Gertie McDowell, who is every much as detailed in her fantasies,
Right.
which she has gleaned from magazines and books and observation and going to sales and all that.
Yeah, I like that connection, Duncan. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because Bloom even mentions his garments. He sees himself with a Horace tweed cap, price 8 shillings and 6pence. Very expensive.
Yeah.
You know, that's very Gertie McDowell, isn't it? She might herself with some sort of headgear and loose all wool garments.
Yeah.
Useful garden boots or elastic gussets.
Yeah, I think it was Gordon, if I'm John Gordon, I think that talks about a very, Joyce lived in Paris.
Yeah.
Paris was the consumer's paradise.
Yes.
It was where the Europe would come, for the highest quality consumer items. And that was an actual conscious choice by the French government. They decided to position themselves as the consumer's paradise. And they did all kinds of things to promote that. And they did a lot of promotion in other countries, etc. So Joyce was very well aware that we lived in the time of the consumer and that fantasies would have a lot to do with stuff.
Yeah, but it's almost the American idea of get out there and build your own house in the mountains. And yet this guy, he wants to have beehives and lobster pots, eel traps, a conservatory, a rabbitry, a fowl run.
I totally understand. I contemplated beehives at one time myself.
Yeah, well, a man who has a reservation for animals now, a conservatory for animals. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It would show as well, I guess, that the outsider has arrived, that he's come in, he's the mainstream, right?
Well,
what are clothes about?
Right. Clothes and possessions. Yes.
It is to display status levels and taste.
Yeah. Intellectual pursuits, you see, are a part of it.
Intellectual pursuits, yep. You've got,
Celestial constellation,
Nice.
astronomy, It's a wonder he hasn't got a little telescope structure constructed somewhere like in the grounds of his estate. Hmm.
yeah. Well, I mean, my mother and father my mother was a big consumer, and my father, desired a higher status, but um, despaired of ever actually getting there.
Yeah.
And I am the pivot point. I was the kid who came along and decided that, now and I'm not true to myself in this regard, but that consumer items didn't mean that much to me, that I was going to be the practical fellow. And if you meet me, you'll see that 90% of the time I'm dressed in a black t-shirt and blue jeans
Yeah.
and some sort of inexpensive shoe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then my primary winter coat is a Uniqlo modestly priced puffy coat. But you know, and a number of people in my age group had turned at that time, the kids from the 60s.
Yeah.
A certain percentage of them had also made that same turn where we at least wanted to signal that we were not that interested in consumerism.
Mere
No,
product.
we didn't really live up to that, but it was a change. We didn't, we we don't buy new cars like in Japan. If you have 40,000 miles on your car, it's time to sell it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I used to know a lot of people that, they wanted a new car every 2 or 3 years. That was the American way through the
Yeah.
50s and 60s.
Same here.
So I think in Bloom's mind, Bloom is still on the ascendancy and the consumer
Yeah.
fixation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he is a realistic prospect of achieving much of this. I think we were to come to how he may finance it.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, this is my vision of hell. You know,
Okay.
like I've got a garden that I wish I could sell. I wish I could launch into space, send it to the moon. And because I look at it and it is waging war against me for the last 40 years. And most people would love a garden like that, but I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I try to do things and they go all wrong, and more bigger weeds and bigger trees. I cut them down and they split and two come up, and it's so the idea of all this stuff, uh, buying his bulbs from James W. Mackey
Mm.
Limited, seeds and wheelbarrows to push around.
Yeah,
I
this is
couldn't.
all stuff that has to be maintained and cleaned. That's the
Yeah, I
I,
pay guys to
that's that's where I personally like a pretty sparse
yeah,
open space for the most part.
yeah,
I totally get you guys. Last year, I paid a guy over €1,000 to come down and cut 3 trees in half.
yep,
Uh-huh.
Oh man, yeah,
yeah.
a garden that wages war against me. I totally get it, Joe.
I took down 5 trees myself this spring, and I was not the better of it until about a month ago. But so to me, I just think, careful what you wish for, Bloom,
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, he
Yeah,
wishes for it because he doesn't have it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's one thing. it's very easy to fantasize when you don't really have any responsibility for anything because it's just in your head.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay. But like
Maybe,
myself, I live in the
maybe he thinks his
countryside.
life will be better because he's an outsider now,
Yeah.
so
I,
that he would
I
be
I would be
respected.
willing, yeah, I would be willing to bet though that a lot of the characters that Bloom meets throughout the day have these same fantasies.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
That they're his dreams. I would guess that his dreams are a little bit more sophisticated because he doesn't have as many companions to drink in the bar with, so
yeah.
to speak. So he's got more time to create
Mm.
fantasies. But I would assume that all but the downtrodden and the drunk are creating fantasies
Wow.
along these lines.
He also has a fantasy to be a writer. He wants to be a writer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Hatcham's master stroke.
Matching's masterstroke, exactly. And but he doesn't seem to have a writing room out in Bloomfield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
But he's plenty of space for one. But he's got the Encyclopedia Britannica to inspire him. So yeah, I can sort of see it
yeah.
in your lease.
Well, I am one of these people that I actually pretty much don't take care of much. And I let the grass grow higher than other people, and I don't trim the trees, and I console myself by saying that I'm watching the natural cycle.
Yes. Yeah.
That of the environment. I just watch the natural cycle. So I have trees with gnarly limbs and all that.
Mm.
And so far I'm fairly content with that.
Well, there's a new trend here now, Duncan, for the sake of the bees and all the other pollinators, to rewild your garden, not to be cutting it as much.
I am way ahead of the curve.
You
Yeah.
sure are. You sure are, Duncan.
I am way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of my friends and neighbors living around here who are taking refuge in that particular concept.
I
Mm.
think it's a I think it's a I think it's a legitimate concept. But in America, for the most part, if you live in a quote normal circumstances, the
Mm,
neighbors will not let you get away with it. And their major argument will be it's affecting our property values.
I know, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true.
So when we move through this, I want to stick with your comparison with Gertie McDowell's
Yeah.
Okay.
dreams. Equally unattainable. And yet we really, our heart goes out to Gertie. And yet I don't think that's the case here. We're more amused by Bloom's musings. And I'm wondering why. Is it because Bloom already has some nice things, whereas Gertie's life is maybe not going to be as happy as she had hoped it would be. She doesn't have a lot of prospects.
Yeah. I think that I agree. That's a great point. And because her consumer and fantasies are tied in with her romance, her personal relationship.
Right.
Whereas this guy, he's got a personal relationship. And this is just a branch where for her the two are intermingled.
Yeah, that's
She's
right.
out riding in a coach and all this kind of stuff, you know, and meeting Mr. Right.
Right.
Because Bloom is actually is about to kind of Mr. and Mrs. Leopold Bloom have left Kingstown for England. You know, he's got that. And she has probably no chance of any kind of a relationship.
Can somebody remind me of Gertie's fantasy, please?
Oh, if you go back to the Nausicaa chapter and you just
Mm-hmm.
start flipping through it, and you will see all these descriptions of colors, types of underwear, dresses, and her house. She has a house fantasy also, where her and
Okay.
her Reggie or her Bloom are going to be eating breakfast in the breakfast nook. And
yeah.
then she's going to show him to the door and give him a little kiss while he goes off to the office to.
Yeah.
And she has they'll have a wonderful picture of Gary Owen, Uncle Giltrap's dog, over the fireplace. This is
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's actually quite marvelous, and it reads like, reading Bloom's fantasy. It kind of that same kind of reading to it. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
light and airy and going here and going there, and you see that in Gertie also. I find Nausicaa a lot of fun to read because it's in the feminine voice. A
yeah,
lot of it's in the feminine young girl's
Mm.
voice, uh, who has not had too many disillusions yet, although she gets pretty upset with Reggie, and she gets pretty upset with her girlfriends with the little, but it reads pretty light and bright. She's still full of hope.
yeah.
And she
So,
might get lucky. I mean, this is of course the whole irony is there's always examples
yeah,
of the person who wins the lottery, or
yeah.
the person who gets the job, or the woman who marries the rich man, or there's always that possibility until the middle-age disillusionment is really when people start thinking that their fantasies are not going to come true. They're
Maybe.
still working at that
Yeah.
$8.50 job with no health insurance.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But maybe Gertie and Bloom are a good match. In the
Mhm.
sequel to Ulysses, after he
There we
divorced,
go. Are you working on that, Joe, by any chance?
I think, like they could enjoy their little fantasies together. They could get the Irish Times on a Saturday and take out the realtors,
Hey, I've got a title.
visit them every weekend.
Ulysses and Nausicaa go shopping.
Yeah,
Ah,
because the in Hubbard, that's kind of is an ideal match for Ulysses. So here we have another perfect match. The modern day uh, are matched in this.
I
So
think I think you have a point there, Joe, because you could, although this is a little cruel to say, I mean, both Bloom and Gertie are handicapped.
yeah,
Bloom is handicapped because he is not quite a Jew in Ireland at that time. And Gertie is handicapped because she's had some sort of accident and she walks with a limp.
yeah.
So they might be a perfect match. Who
It might
knows?
be a perfect match. They could sit by the fireplace looking at the photograph of Gary Owen and dreaming of.
That's right. And on Sundays, they can get the real estate section of the paper and they can, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have that? And oh, let's go there and take a look. And that sounds like a really nice place.
That might.
Um, I think I would just like to pick up your point, Duncan, and I like that. He's Bloom's disability, though I would say, is more than his racial identity or lack thereof. I think it's also that he's different from everybody else in how he thinks, and they see him as weird. We love him because in some ways he's like us. But I mean, here we are having to reach across the ocean to find kindred spirits and this sort of thing. Um, and so I think it's more than the racial identity that puts Bloom apart. And Molly touches upon that in her monologue, that
Okay.
he's different, and ultimately she likes him for it. But it's that difference which separates him out from
Yeah.
the guys.
Yeah, well, you have to always remember a defect of mine is that I got my degree in sociology.
Right.
So I tend to think in structural terms.
Right.
And I tend to think that what makes Bloom different is the fact that he's Jewish without being a Jew. So he doesn't fit in. So he has to kind of create his own way. He really is Ulysses. I mean, in this book Ulysses, the main factor is Ulysses now he's not at home in the entire book until he gets back to Penelope, but he's not at home. He's dealing with strangers. He's having to learn the lay of the land. He's having to figure out how do I survive this new situation? And he takes nothing for granted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you see, Dubliners and portrait, we find encounter a Dublin that's populated by characters who are defined by uh, paralysis, uh, desire to rebel, pent-up desires for rebellion against or escape from situations that are seemingly hopeless or events. Uh, and all those characters are like ants running around in this book, but then the three main characters are totally different. Bloom, Stephen, and Molly require a more open form of thought, a different way of living, and none of those three really fit into Dublin. And
Right. Which is a terrible disadvantage on one level, but it's an incredible advantage on some other levels if they have some confidence in themselves. We know that Stephen has confidence in himself, his confidence in his brain and his knowledge of literature and his languages. And Molly is still, she has confidence bred of the fact that she has been desirable for decades.
yeah,
And that, she somehow assured herself. Bloom is a little, he's a little bit more neurotic, but, you can see in a lot of the book that, he takes what he's got.
what happens if you're Irish? As you read Ulysses, you get to understand it a bit and get used to it, and you acquire command of the text. Is that you sense, you get a glimpse of a modern Ireland from those three characters, and alternative to what was taking shape in the form of an Irish Free State, Catholic Ireland and all that. Uh, but it's almost embarrassing looking back at that. But when you go back in Ulysses and you find three characters that are so like us now that we say, yeah, that's okay. Some people were around that were fine. But that's an Irish person's, well, my Irish person's, me. But others I've spoken to as well, they say that Bloom and Molly and Stephen are modern.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's why the book didn't take off in Ireland till about the 1960s.
Oh, 67, yeah, yeah. And that's why number 7, Egger Street, got demolished.
Right, they saved a door apparently. I mean, it
Yeah,
should have been. I mean, today if they tried to do that, it would have been preserved as a holy shrine, Joe.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But the Dublin City Corporation warned the owners of the hospital nearby who wanted to demolish it to get it done quickly, because the whole was taken off, and the good nuns had it demolished and built a hospital there, and that's it. But yeah, and do you know who it was as well that brought all the Joyce thing? It was President Kennedy. Like I managed to go through the Irish education system. I spent 11 years. I took honors subjects, including in English, as in high school. I got an honors English, and I never once heard the name James Joyce.
Yeah, I can totally believe that.
And
Yeah.
where was that there was this guy who wrote dirty books and got them published in France.
Right.
And then President Kennedy comes along and he goes in front of the Parliament and he talks about the bowl of bitter tears that lies between America and Ireland. And he gets a round of applause from the great and the good, who on the name James Joyce 5 minutes before. And suddenly it was, Joyce was getting there, I mean, when Joyce died, the Éamon de Valera, the Irish Prime Minister, the only question he asked was, did he die a Catholic?
Right. Well, and I think that actually encapsulates the whole thing right there.
And because he did, and if he died a Catholic, he would have brought him back to Ireland to be buried and said, leave him over there.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, and forgive me, those of you who are actually in Ireland, I think that the Irish thing at the time of the Revolution was that if we can just get rid of those bloody British, we can go back to living a normal life again
That's us.
in the bosom of the church.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, Texans have this fantasy also if we get back to the real Texas.
Yeah.
The whole political thing in the United States is largely fueled by this same thing. Well, if we just get rid of those funny people, we can go back to being normal again. And, back when things were happy. And of
Yeah.
course, it's a total fantasy. But because as human beings, we're so given to hallucinations of all kinds. That's the hallucination. If we can just get this done, we can go back to being stable, safe, prosperous, and happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the modern sensibility is really the understanding that ain't never going to happen.
Yeah.
You in the modern times, you have to learn, like Ulysses, to make the best out of what's actually going on. So anyway, that's my rant on that thing.
Oh, I think that's great. And this is all to do with this book. That's the sort of the sociology that you're so good at unearthing in the underlying these things. And the amazing thing is that Joyce is able to describe it. He's able to put it
He
down.
is, yes, and describe it well and in detail. That's a whole, both in the Nausicaa chapter and this chapter and in other chapters, the level, the microscopic level that he can go to.
Yeah.
Yes.
He talks about that he wanted it so 100 years from now, if someone read Ulysses, they could create Dublin.
Rebuild Dublin.
Okay, well, in Nausicaa and this, what we've read today, he's given the blueprint. Hey, you want to have the bourgeois fantasy of someone in 1904?
Yeah.
Go here, read this. This is the bourgeois fantasy. Bloom is not the only one. I think Bloom is possibly a little more sophisticated because he's an outsider, and outsiders work hard to make up for their quote defect by becoming more sophisticated, at least in their own minds. But this is largely the fantasy here. Just like in Gertie's case, Gertie's the young girl's fantasy at that time, which continues on to this day. Anyway, that's where.
Did you see how Bloom perceives himself? I only noticed it as you read, Bloom, Leopold, and his initials, P, MP, PC, KP, LLG, honoris causa. The abbreviations, he pictures himself as a member of Parliament, right? Member of Parliament, British member of Parliament, a Privy Councillor, a Knight of the Order of St. Patrick, that's a British decoration, a Doctor of Laws.
Right.
Yeah.
Honoris causa, and by reason of an honorary degree.
Well, this is the Shakespeare thing where it was a big deal for Shakespeare to be knighted, or what he got. What was that thing he got? where he
The
became
the family crest, yeah.
the family crest.
Yeah.
Yes, he became a
And his,
member.
with the motto, it is Semper Paratus, we're always ready, you know.
Okay, that's what that means, is Semper Paratus is always ready.
He's ready, yes, yeah. But usually that would reveal him as a bit of a fake, because there should be, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. It should have some elevated.
Well,
Uh,
this is not the Ulysses motto.
Semper, yeah, always ready.
Always ready.
Sort
All
of,
right.
All comers.
Yeah.
You on. Whereas,
Throw me a witch, I'll take care of that. Throw me a cyclops, and I'll figure that one out. Put me between Scylla and Charybdis, and I'll lash myself to the mast. And
all this sort of stuff, yeah. It's so wonderful. That motto was all wrong.
But is that legitimate? Okay, it's wrong, but is it legitimate Latin?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, I just semper.
Okay.
It's always in practice is. Oh, if you'd say always prepared, but you shouldn't use the etymological derivative. So you say ready.
Okay. Well, I have marked for next time that we would start on Wordsworth, page 620, prove that he loved rectitude from his earliest years.
Yep.
Okay.
Satisfactory
Perfect.
to all?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, good.
18th, so oh my God, it's gonna be 9:25 next Thursday.
Oh, goodness.
All right, 25.
Okay, and just what's happening Mondays now? Is it
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Okay, right. Okay.
Duncan, I may not be there on Monday.
Oh, well, we will miss you.
But
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
So
everybody.
Sylvia,
Thank you.
you all let yourselves out the door, because Sylvia and I are going to work on her Zoom situation.
Okay. Good night, folks.
Sylvia.
Okay, so I do have a MacBook Air. You have to turn on your microphone, Sylvia. Okay, there you go.
But can you see? Oh, you can't probably see.
No, but I can probably kick you off.
Can you?
Yeah, I can probably kick you off by opening up my MacBook Air.
Just go.
Maybe, but I'll open it up, because at least I can start figuring it out.
Never did. You just leave it.
I'm going to assume that you have the little what do you call it?
No, that's the Harper. Vanilla.
Am I listening to Ann Doyle in the background somehow? I don't.
Oh, sorry, there's something on. Sorry, something came on.
Okay. All right. Well, my MacBook Air is a little slow in starting, but it usually.
Duncan, I'm going to send you.
Huh?
I'm just going to send you a photograph that I took of what I've.
Okay. You should have a settings of, one of those little gear looking things up on the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. There should be a gear looking thing, but I can tell you more accurately in just a second.
Oh no, I just took a photograph.
Okay.
Where the heck is Duncan?
Where am I? That's a good question. I've been working on that question for a long time.
Oh, but I don't know if I sent it. Duncan.
Why are you not cooperating?
Yeah, but I just sent you a photo. I just sent you a photograph.
Okay.
Oh, but I didn't send you anything. You previously signed in as Duncan Echelon. So, I just because I used my iPad. I didn't because when I used this, it that's what knocked everybody out.
Okay.
How do I get rid of that?
Why are you not allowing me to sign in?
I don't know why I can't get rid of
Oh,
AI.
here's what I want. Okay. Okay, I'll be there in just a second. I'm turning my MacBook Air is trying to turn on. And then I will open up my Zoom. Here's my Zoom. Here's my Zoom.
But can you know how? Because I'm obviously host on this. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
can you see me as host?
Hold on. Let me open this up. No, that's not, I don't want Apple Music. Why are you doing that? I want Zoom. Okay, so here's the Zoom. And this is Ulysses,
Yeah.
Joyce's Ulysses Thursday Zoom.
Mm.
So let me just click switch and see if it kicks you off.
Kicked
I
you off.
don't-
Kicked you off, Duncan. But if I
Well, let's see where I am. Let me take a look. Mute, edit profile. Let me take a look and see what it says for you.
mm,
Yeah, you right now I'm the host. You
yeah.
are not the host. So your main problem right now is you need to figure out how to sign out.
So if I
Um,
try and sign into a different account, would
Well,
that help?
you have a Sylvia account, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So you
I just sign in as a person joining. I don't have an account.
you don't have an account at all.
No, I only sign in as I
Okay. So, huh. Okay, so basically what you're saying is you click on the link
Oh,
that's in the
it
email.
says sorry, it says here, welcome Duncan. And should I and then there's a change facility there. So should I try and change?
You need to log out. If it's calling you Duncan, then you need to go, let's see where is the thing? Audio, video, participants, chat, react, share, host tools, apps, notes, more, record. See, this is a little bit different on my Macintosh, not Macintosh, on my Windows stuff. It has
Oh,
an account symbol. But
no, join a meeting. And then I've got Dunk if I take out that name. God, why did I how did
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I just have to figure out where the, okay, request tools, lock meeting enable, share screen, blah, 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 unmute, paradox.
If I did sign in with,
Go ahead.
no, I can't see how I can sign out. That's my problem.
Well, that's what, yeah, and I thought that when I opened up mine on this Mac Air that I would see how you do that, and I don't see how you do it yet. I know there is a way, but
welcome. I've got something. Welcome, Duncan. And then and there's a change facility. If I change that, would that help?
you can click it and find out. It's just, I'm not sure. Okay, meeting security. There's YouTube.